Black Widow showed us what really happened in Budapest and set up a future Disney Plus show with a shady familiar character returning to the MCU. BD here with a breakdown of that Black Widow movie ending and an explanation for the post-credit scene if you're wondering what's happening next in the MCU. This means full spoilers ahead, and I'll share my spoiler-filled reaction at the end of this video. Without further ado though, let's pretend I am that which you love and we're standing on top of Vormir. What I'm saying is, let's jump in. To end the film, Natasha is seen in Yelena's green vest, which she goes on to wear in Avengers Infinity War. Now we just know how she got it. And she's got the short blonde haircut to mirror that movie as well. This is sometime after the events of Civil War and Black Widow, but before she found Steve Rogers. Chronologically, the next time we see her is when Nat, Steve, and Sam rescue Wanda and Vision in Avengers Infinity War. I think the purpose of this scene was to show that in a lot of ways, Natasha kind of was the glue that held the Avengers together. The band broke up. She tried to get them back together. The boys wouldn't put their egos aside. She came and reassembled the Avengers. Then there's the post-credits scene with Yelena visiting Natasha's grave. Black Widow director Kate Shortland tells me there are fireflies in the scene and they're meant to represent Natasha being a part of the ether because she believes Natasha's still around, even though she has died in Avengers Endgame. She also noted she's buried in a quiet, secret place with no funeral because it's just one last secret she kept from us, and that she never wanted a big, loud funeral, but a quiet, small, and natural place to rest. As for how they got her body to bury it there after she was on Vormir, I'm not sure, but you can go watch my full interview with director Kate Shortland elsewhere on the Comicbook.com YouTube channel. Marvel fans who watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier recognize Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. She previously showed up after John Walker's implosion and went on to get him new threads and the name of US agent, making him comics accurate. Here, Val tells Yelena that Hawkeye is responsible for Natasha's death, which, that's annoying for a couple of reasons, right? One, even if you wish Clint jumped, it's not his fault Natasha did. And two, none of us believe Yelena's gonna kill Clint. We do know Yelena's next stop is Hawkeye on Disney Plus, and that's supposed to debut later this year, but I think that relationship is quickly gonna go from her hunting him to maybe her being an ally. The bigger picture here is that Valentina is manipulating super characters and possibly forming a team. Black Widow was originally meant to launch Phase 4 of the MCU, so it makes sense the first post-credit scene reflected Nick Fury showing up in Iron Man's house to form the Avengers after Iron Man 1. But the question is, what team does Val want to form here? It could be the Thunderbolts, which is essentially a group of anti-heroes and villains who do some good work together, often led by Baron Zemo. It could be a Dark Avengers team, which is just that, grittier, more intense heroes who go about things differently than the Avengers do. Or it could just be the return of Hydra in the MCU, as Valentina is, at one point in comics, known as Madam Hydra. For more on Val, I suggest our Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 5 breakdown video, also available on the Comicbook.com YouTube channel. We learned Loki's line from Avengers about Dreykov's daughter being the Red and Nat's ledger meant that Natasha was willing to kill Dreykov's daughter if it meant also killing Dreykov, and she carried out that mission as best she could. Her Red is partly absolved because Dreykov's daughter didn't die. Instead, she became Taskmaster, a totally different version of the Taskmaster we know from comics as Tony Masters. Worth pointing out, Natasha totally used an emotional front to get Dreykov to reveal his plan, which was totally the same skill she used when she interrogated Loki and got him to crack and reveal he wanted to unleash the Hulk on the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier in 2012's Avengers, but more on those type of things in my full Easter egg breakdown video later. Now I'll get to my spoiler-filled review of the film. I really loved the Black Widow movie. My only gripes, really, are in the ridiculousness of the Red Room being a flying tower that no Avenger or S.H.I.E.L.D. agent has ever found, and the third act battle, I felt like some of the CGI was lacking and they had a lot of time to perfect that, and Taskmaster swimming through the air like Jaws. Okay, in other movies, that would have been more acceptable, but this one was so grounded and raw and gritty that the third act going that big and crazy felt a little out of place. But still, I thought the movie was great. One of the best solo films from Marvel, ahead of Iron Man 2 and 3 for me, Cap 1, Thor 1 and 2, ahead of both of the Ant-Man movies. It just featured a raw take on heroes we haven't seen since The Winter Soldier. The answers to our questions about Natasha were satisfying enough for me, and I consider myself a big MCU fan who wanted to know those things. And Yelena and Natasha and Alexei had a great moments, like the action was great, the humor was great, the cast together, great chemistry, and I have a feeling Melina and her mind-controlling tech, that's going to come back into play in the future. It's a really nicely executed spy thriller that lands Natasha's story with a fulfilling bit of closure, while also propelling new characters into the future of the MCU. To that I say, well done. If you want to talk more about Black Widow, join our Phase Zero podcast. New episodes of our MCU show drop every Wednesday on all major podcast platforms. We already have interviews all across the Comicbook.com YouTube channel, so be sure to check those out. I'll have a full Easter eggs breakdown video taking a much deeper dive into the movie in the next couple of days, so make sure you subscribe to the Comicbook.com YouTube channel so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, you can hit me up on Instagram at BrandonDavisBD if you want to talk more right now. Head over to comicbook.com/Marvel for more updates. I'm BD. I'll see you there.